Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live edition of Legends from the Past and the Future Show. I'm your host, Armand, and this is Ayana Muyel and Rajel
Good
Park.
evening.
How you doing, Ayana?
I'm doing well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Roger, how you doing tonight?
Everything's groovy, brother. See, y'all don't know nothing about that, y'all young folks. Yeah, everything's great.
Everything,
Don't know
everything.
about that. That's a 70s thing. Y'all youngsters don't know nothing about that. Google it. Google it. You get it.
And look at him with the finger, all that stuff. He went hippie on us that time.
Ooh,
Hey, look. Hey, one thing I want to mention on the 30th.
everything's good. That's why it's like that.
What's that?
I broke that finger. That's why it stick out. Like you ain't never notice it. Even when I do that, it stick out. I broke it. That's what happened when you jump out of airplanes.
Well, at least it doesn't look like our homeboy. Our
Yeah.
homeboys. You
That's
know what I'm
true.
saying? yeah. Hey, but on the 30th of this month, we're gonna be sponsoring the Alabama A&M golf tournament. That's gonna be held in Davidsonville, in the Davidsonville golf course. I'm excited about that. We hosted it last year. We didn't host it, but we sponsored it last year. I'm glad you're gonna be with us, Raj. It's gonna be
We actually hosting it or we sponsoring?
no. We're sponsoring.
Oh,
We'll be gonna do on what, Ayana? We'll be doing what that day?
We're going to be on the green and we're going to smoke some cigars.
Yes.
Hopefully.
I get to roll my own cigar with what I want to put in it. Then I smoke.
I don't know about all that.
I put my own stuff in there.
You know what?
I don't even know if
That
I could do
explains
that.
a lot.
Huh?
That explains a lot, right?
Well, look, let me tell you something. Back in the day when I was in the 82nd, they used to call us jumping junkies.
Wow.
That's when I was real good with it, driving and
Wow.
rolling with one hand.
Well, look, moving on. We're gonna have an excellent show tonight. We're gonna have an awesome panel. You guys know, 4 Wednesdays ago I had a mini stroke, and this show I had to do a show pertaining to health. And the panel that we have is awesome. Coming to the stage first will be Melissa Natapraya. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
For a second time, huh?
Yeah, for a second time.
Awesome.
I'm grateful.
Coming up next, we're gonna bring on Arden Smith. Arden, what's going on, cousin?
Archie, the man, myth, legend. There you go.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. The pleasure and honor.
Yeah. And without further ado, we got the human beast himself.
Well, actually, cut it off.
Addy.
Cut it off.
Dennis.
What's to it in the half?
What's up, brother? Appreciate your time, man. Appreciate y'all.
Welcome to the show.
My man.
Well, we're gonna get started. This is a hot topic here. But before we begin, Melissa, tell us,
Yes.
where you from? Where you from? And where you currently? Yeah.
Originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. Currently live in Columbia, Maryland. Retired here. This was my last duty station. So loving the Maryland area. Don't foresee myself anywhere else until these tariffs keep pushing me away. But other than that, loving this area, doing functional fitness in the area, taking care of my daughter, traveling, enjoying retirement life. And, I did pick up a job because I like to travel. So here it is.
So then when you say functional fitness, what exactly are you talking about?
Functional fitness. When I look at the functional fitness piece, we're talking about HIIT, high interval, intensity type training. And when I say functional, I mean everyday things, right? We got to squat to pick up things. We got to lift to pick up, put things on the shelf. So when I think of functional fitness, you see all these men and women in the gym, they're doing all this heavy weight lifting. Realistically, how often in our lifetime are we doing that unless we falling, we can't get up. I don't know why people are doing it, but I'm looking at more of your squat and snatches, your anything that helps you maintain a quality of life as we continue to mature, right? You need to be able to get up out of the bed. You need to be able to get up from the chair. You need to be able to go from point A to B. You know, we want to have all this functional fitness, things that we do in our day-to-day life that help us enhance our quality of life. So that's what I mean by functional fitness. You know, why the aesthetics of everything looks great. You lift the weights, you get the muscles, everything gets cut and toned. But at the end of the day, when I've been over to try to tie my shoe, can I touch my toes? Do I have flexibility? Can I do the basic things that we need to do to decrease the risk of getting injured as we get older, falling and breaking stuff? So the functional fitness and the weight training helps with the bone density and giving us what we need as we continue to go on in our life. Because I plan on rocking it out to about 102, full cycle. Right there with me, full cycle.
103 is my cutoff.
I'm there with you. I'm there with you.
So now, Arden, it's your turn. Tell us where you from and what you currently doing.
From Annapolis, Maryland. Live in DC. Currently, got my KA over here. He's one of my co-stars on the Night Brothers show. So doing the show night before this, you know, on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. show, you know, so definitely check us out. Shameless plug. And you can see us on Facebook or YouTube. But working on staying healthy, becoming and being a better father, being a better person, try to elevate myself at this point in time, because now it's, you know, I used to be at a point where I used to look at my elders and like, yo, these were the statesmen of the family. All of us now are at the point where we're the people that everybody kind of look toward to lead the family, support the family and everything else. So embracing my new role as somewhat an elder, depending on who I'm around, and working on building some grocery stores in Black neighborhoods to affect change as far as the psychology of food, what we consume, what we think is food, because 90% of what you see in the grocery store are non-foods. And functional movement. I have a background in martial arts. I've taught martial arts for over 30 years. So that movement that Melissa was talking about is imperative. I mean, for real, I would say 65, 75% of people don't even understand when she starts talking about leaning over and functional movement, functional exercising. A lot of times people aren't even aware of what fascia is. But it's tissue that clings together. And if you move fast, you tear it. The older you get, the tighter it gets if you don't work it, and you tear. So slip and falls for somebody 60 or plus, it can be very detrimental. But if you're doing Melissa's class, I take it, if you slip on the steps, you do a half a split, you jump right back up like you James Brown talking about, ow! And I still feel good. And that's what we want. I mean, a lot of times we say we getting older, but it's a mindset. And so all of that, I'm trying to fight, you know, in me, first of all, and then in my culture, in my community, because we have a really lax sense of wanting to move and exercise and wanting to eat well. You know, I hear people say, well, I'm gonna die from anything, but how you live is very important. And if you're 55, 56 years old and your children 25, 30 years old, and you can't still run with them or almost outrun them, you know what I mean? You need to check some stuff and just start moving more, because it's still there for you. I've trained people in the art that they got their black belt. They were 60 years old. And I mean, they ain't have to do nothing different than a 15-year-old or 25-year-old. You said jump to your knees 50 times, they got to do it. Jump over 5 people, kick the board, they got to do it at that age. So just the age mindset, we have to really change, because certain places in the world, if you die 86 years old, they look at you and they say, dang, he died young. But in our minds, you think he lived a full life. But I'm going to close out because, you know, we could go on and on. We pass the mic to KA in the building.
So,
what's up, everybody? First of all, big brother, thank you for having us on the show. Big fans of the show. We wish you continued success. And I'm here tonight to share a story of my medical event to touch on something that Arden said, eating healthy, being healthy, and all that. And I was doing all of that. And this is why my story has been so intriguing. I can't wait to share it with y'all. But like Melissa said, getting out and moving and doing that bending and the lifting and all that, that's something that can't be taken for granted, because that is something that I did take for granted. And after my medical event, it was something that I had to work back to get to doing something as simple and basic as picking up a box. Mm-hmm. You know, something as simple as things we take for granted every day was almost taken away from me. And it took 6 months of work and rehabilitation to get back to where I am now. I'm just so happy to share my story with y'all. I can't wait to share it with y'all. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to move the mic to Ayana so she can be. Before we start, there's 2 things I have to do. There's another guest that's going to be on the show tonight. He just called, so he may be having problems. You're going to see me disappear so I can see what's going on, okay? But I would like to welcome Ren Delia or Delia to the show. Lodi, Orlando Maker, welcome to the show. Margaret Nick, welcome to the show. Simplified Slick Silk, welcome to the show, my brother. And Vanessa, welcome to the show. On you, Ayana.
All right. So, Melissa, have you always been fit and healthy, or is this something that you grew into?
Absolutely not. I have not always been fit and healthy. The reason I grew into fitness, in a sense, is when I first came in the military, and I came in late in life in the military. I was probably 27. Looking for something different. And I laugh about it and joke about it and say, I used to tell my parents, they're retired military, my mom and my stepfather, rest in peace, that I would never come into the Army. But when I started truly, and I won't lie, when I first went to college, wilding out, partying, and I'll be honest with you, that's when I became the most unhealthy in my life. I found myself at about 19 years old having a medical emergency because I was having a real bad headache. Blood pressure was through the roof, ended up in the ER, had no idea. But when they said you put on that freshman 20, I probably put on the freshman 20 plus another person. In my mind, I probably, at my heaviest, I was probably about 180 pounds. Nothing really resonated with me and clicked in my mind until it was time for me to try to change and want to come in the Army. Okay, I fooled around in college. I didn't really do what I was supposed to do. I did that freshman and sophomore year. That junior year and that senior year, we were eating, party, drinking, all the things that, you know, parents tell you not to do, but we were living life. So wasting money and had to figure out how to pay it, right? Had lived life up until, still living life, had lived life up until about that 20-something mark. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and come in the military. I know they'll pay for my education. But when I went to MEPS, it was a male MEPS recruiter. He hurt my feelings. And I was like, the reality was when I stepped in there, he was like, in order for you to come, you're going to have to lose weight because you're fat. He didn't say you need to slim down. You need to do this. He was real about it. He was like, you're fat. And there was a female recruiter there, Master Sergeant retired now Gilmore, Sergeant Major Gilmore. She took me under her wing. And when I tell you she ran the damn brakes off of me, she ran the brakes off of me. And that's when I started getting that passion for fitness, right? A little bit, but still not as much as I should have, because in order for me to come in the Army, it wasn't just about my weight. It was making sure that all my numbers, when I say my numbers, my blood pressure, my cholesterol, all that stuff was on point, right? Because at that time I was already a mother, had been married and everything. So it's just like, I'm coming into a very stressful environment, physically stressful anyway, because mentally you can work that piece any kind of way you want. But coming into the military, stressful environment, I'm doing physical stuff that I had not been doing. And I was married, a young mom, and I was like, I need to be able to condition my body to be able to survive at least basic training. But when I got to my first duty station, I had put 10 years, almost 9 to 10 years in, and competed for green to gold. And when I did that, that's when I got into fitness truly. Once I transitioned and crossed over and went to Afghanistan back in 2011. And once I finally, you know, in the Army, I'd always been between 145, 150, you know, and I kept going by what the Army was saying, you know, this is how we're supposed to look. This is what we should do, you know, always going by somebody else's standards. But the standard that I needed to look at was the health standard. What were those underlying numbers? What did they look like? Because the body could have all the muscle in it, but it didn't matter at all because the blood pressure, the cholesterol, those things they're horrible. They were stroke risk. So I think 2011 is when I got really big into fitness, like in Afghanistan. And then at that point in time, having another kid, almost 40 years old, I was like, I got to get this together. I can't continue to go down this road because even though I have a 30-year-old, a 29-year-old, and then lost my mind and I have a 13-year-old, I plan on being around for them. And I want to be around for if someone decides to give me grandkids one day, you know. So the fitness piece came at about 2011 for me, when I started getting really serious, when the numbers mattered. And those weren't the numbers on the scale. The numbers were whatever my doctor was telling me when you're looking at my A1C, my labs, and all that other stuff. So that's what mattered to me the most when I got real serious.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I look forward to hearing more as the conversation evolves. Arden, you are a martial artist. When did you get involved with martial arts? At what age? You're on mute.
My apologies. I was just trying to make sure I had no background sound when Melissa was putting it down. But I guess I was 13. Everybody remember the Channel 20 Action Theater? You know what I mean? On Saturday morning. Some people don't remember that, but some people do. You know what I'm saying? What they do was like, you killed my mouse. No, let me stop bugging. But yeah, I really got into the art then. And it was so wild because a good friend of mine, I don't know if y'all know Dean Moore, we used to work at, I used to illegally work at I can say it now, at Foot Locker, because the manager was real cool. He wanted to keep me out of trouble, keep my head clean. So he allowed me to do some stock stuff there. So I was riding over with Dean because he used to work there. And I always talked about I wanted to do the art. I was athletic. I was playing football, basketball, baseball. You know how we did, Spar Road, baby. But so he was like, yo, my my sister's husband just started a school. And that's Grandmaster Amos Johnson. If you don't know him, you should, because he's from Annapolis. He's an Annapolitan, and he's a Hall of Famer. And he's actually he's really the best school and the best instructor in Annapolis, period, hands down. And not me just saying it, but like most of the tournaments that you would go up and down the East Coast, he's in the Hall of Fame in that tournament. But long story short, I was in when I got into that, I realized that is not a business that you want to get tired in. And you know, and Roger understands if you fighting, the last thing you want to hear somebody say, I'm tired. I ain't nobody tired. You run up the hill with the pack on, whatever that is. But the bottom line is understanding that if you put bad fuel in your car, it doesn't run right. But we'll focus more on what we put in our vehicle than what we put in ourselves. So as a young child, I started the art, started getting information, started understanding that aspect. And at the same time, my godmother was a herbologist, and she healed people literally back then when nobody was talking about not eating meat, not eating dairy products, and taking herbs to heal yourself and everything else. And I was seeing people come from the hospital saying they had 6 months to live, and then walking away from there, going back, and the doctor saying, I don't know what you did, but you fine. And seeing that whole switch, all because of what you eat and what you bring into your body. So that really had a really huge effect on me, so much so that I became vegetarian at like 15 years old, 16 years old. So through my adolescence, 16 through going through college, I was strictly, I mean, I guess what people would call right now vegan, but plant-based, definitely. Didn't drink alcohol at all after 18, 19 years old till I was like 27, and really didn't drink much then. But that really helped my lifestyle and my life because I cut off all of that stuff at a young age and then started putting good things into me. And a lot of times we wait till we're 50, 60 years old and then we want to switch up. I was lucky enough to get that insight as a young age and see examples of why. Because sometimes people get the information, but when you see somebody coming in and they so compacted that the hospital sends them home, say you got 30 days to live, and you see that person 3 months later after detoxing tremendously and changing their lifestyle and their life, and they live. And then the person that helped them is so fearful that they said, don't tell them what you did. Tell them you fast and prayed. That's it. Don't tell them me. Don't say anything. Because then the other side of it, I've seen people be eliminated for curing cancer, for curing people from all kinds of other diseases. Now, you probably know, Dr. Sabi now, a lot of people do, but there's countless others that was doing amazing work, healing people, and they really got railroaded, some imprisoned and killed, and some just KO'd. I'm sorry, I can't say that word. I apologize. Don't want to get us bad, but realistically, people that were on the side of people getting healthy were concerned that the healthcare system would come after them. So just it really changed my life, really, focus-wise.
Very interesting. Okay, yeah, looking forward to hearing more. I'm going to pass it to Roger.
Yeah, Kenny, we jumping on you now. You want to tell us about your incident, what was going on? I mean, how you do the right thing, and still, even though everybody already know I live at the gym, I'm a health nut, but when you could be as healthy as you want, couple years, about a year or so ago, I almost canceled out myself. And, because I was a pre-diabetic and then I caught COVID and it shot my numbers up so bad, they thought I wasn't going to make it. But I remember when I came out of it, Armin and I got the same doctor. And he said, Sergeant Major, if it wasn't for you going through the gym and stuff, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If you wasn't eating right, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I mean, I'm fine now, so you never know what God have in store for you. So, Kenny, explain to us what your diet situation was.
That was a great segue, Roger. I think Melissa started it off about health and fitness, and Arden hit the nail on the head. And there's a lot, and just to touch on what Arden said before I continue, knowledge is the key. There's a lot of things that we didn't know. And I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. There's a lot of things that we didn't know about eating and what we drink and how we live at that age. When I joined the Night Brother show with what you three guys on here, that's when I really started. I was in the military just like y'all, and I was doing well and in shape and in fitness. And after I got out, I fell off the wagon, hanging out, partying, drinking, working, whatever. And at that time, right before my event, I had, I was walking. I know a lot of y'all that are friends with me on Facebook see me walking. I was in the gym playing basketball. I was doing what I call the trifecta, where I would walk 6 or 7 miles, go to the gym and play basketball for 2 or 3 hours, and then do some cardio and lift for another hour. So everything was great. And on that fateful day, April 25th of last year, I woke up. I remember my wife kissing me goodbye about 7 o'clock in the morning. I got up about 9, and I felt like, I know you talk about drinking back in the day when we used to drink the Wild Irish Rose and all that crazy stuff, and you wake up with this hangover, a crazy hangover, and that's what it felt like. But I hadn't drank anything. And as I went on, it got worse. It got worse. And fast forward, I was in the back of the ambulance, which is a less than a 10-minute ride from my house. This ride felt like an hour or so. I was in the back of this ambulance making life decisions. I saw the white light came over me. I couldn't see unless I squinched my eyes. And something in my head was telling me to close your eyes and go to sleep. It'll be over. No, that's not happening. So at this point, I became incapacitated. I couldn't talk. So I started making this noise like, and to me, as long as I could hear myself, I was still here. Fast forward, the last time I had talked to my wife, she was an hour away. She had just got to New York, 42nd Street, Times Square. I coded in the back of the ambulance, they told me. And when I finally came to, my wife was there. She had been there for a while, so I lost an hour and a half, 2 hours. I was talking to this doctor, and they gave me what was called the like a hot shot. I stayed in ICU for 2 days. I was in a regular hospital bed for 2.5 days, and I came home. But the point I'm trying to make is everything that everybody had said before me, I had was eating right. I had lost a lot of weight. Everything was going good. I was walking and exercising, and all of a sudden, boom, this just came out of nowhere. Complete surprise. My doctors to this day cannot pinpoint. They have an idea, but they cannot pinpoint what happened and what caused it. Now, we're talking to Big Brother Almond. I don't want to touch on your segment, but the TIA that you experienced, I had about 9 or 10 of them before my stroke, but I didn't know what they were. I didn't find out until after my stroke, and I had one during my recovery, and that's when I found out. What's up, bro?
Sir, what is a TIA? Just, what is a TIA?
Mini stroke.
Oh, okay.
In layman's terms, it's a mini stroke. There's a technical term for it. It's a mini stroke. It's where you become confused, disoriented. The night, not to jump ahead, but the night that Armand had his, him and I were texting. We were having a conversation, and all of a sudden, he's like, bro, I feel how I feel. And I'm like, bro, go to the doctors now. This is not good. And then he texted me the next morning and said it was a TIA. And like I said, I had a bunch of them, but I didn't know what they were until after.
So what are signs of those? I don't mean to jump into your segment. I'm just wondering, because a lot of times I think people are having these and don't know that they're going through it. Just like you did. You're like, oh, because a lot of times as a man or anybody, I'm just having a little issue. Let me sit down, get some water, whatever else. I'll be all right. We always say that. But thank God you were on the phone with Armand.
I attributed mine to anxiety. I had them on my way to work driving. I had them at work. I had them on the way home driving in traffic. That was a catastrophe waiting to happen. Thank God. Thank God. But I mean, so you have to eat right. You focus as we get older, things don't work like they used to. You have to eat right. You have to focus on your health and exercise. And that's just something that we just need to do. But it was a very scary situation. And when Armand told me about his situation, it brought back a lot of memories. And like I said, I didn't know what it was until I had one 3 months into my recovery. Now, this time I didn't play with it. I called the ambulance. And when I got to the hospital, they told me what it was. I said, well, thank you for telling me, because I had about 10 of those prior to my stroke. So pay attention to your body. Pay attention to what you put into your body. Research everything. Don't just take everybody's opinion. Research everything and make sure it works for you, please.
Okay, that was thank you for all that information, because I see all these folk coming down the arm, and he gonna go over there. All these comments that's coming up. Somebody even told what that was and armor. But while we doing that, I'm gonna jump to my cousin Pierre. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, family? How's everybody doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Awesome pleasure. Great panel. Thanks for the invite. Love being here. This is a really important thing. And our brother Amon, when he said it, he told me what he had going on, and I was like, oh, I got to be on here. Just do whatever I can do and say whatever I can say, to help people. Yeah, cuz, hey, cuz, glad to see you, man.
You too.
Yeah, definitely. All right, and what's up? What's up, Kenny? Hi, ladies.
What's up, brother? Good to see you, brother.
Yes,
sir.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Yes,
got the Black Panther in the building.
Oh yeah, man. I'm a Black Panther fan. Always will be. And but yeah, the topic is powerful, man. And do I get to speak now, or should I?
Hey, go on, do your thing.
Okay. Well, just again, thank Amon for inviting me on. But yeah, so it's good to be back. I haven't been on since the Night Brothers, since I had my really bad accident. I pretty much, I'm gonna take it back a little bit. I've been personal training, for pretty close to 25 or 30 years. Trained a lot of people, throughout the years. I actually was Mr. Annapolis at one time. I got 4th place in the Junior Nationals. I got
Congrats.
First place in the Maryland. Still compete. Still work with a lot of clients competing. I just finished with a lady that's competing Her name is Sharon Henry. She just competed. She's 66 years old, and she got second place. She looked amazing and beautiful, And so, I'm still doing it. I love it. It's all about who I am, as a person. I just love giving to people, helping people. I want to see everybody to shine and have a great life, And so a year and a few months ago, I was in a really bad motorcycle accident. I hit a deer on my motorcycle, and it was just, it's just, and so I guess I'm not supposed to say die or whatever, but I pretty much
Unalive. Unalive supposed to be the
I was
new thing.
unalived.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was unalived, and somebody did CPR on me. Now didn't know any of this, because people ask me, "What do you remember?" And I said, "Well, the only thing I remember is that I felt this pressure in the middle of my forehead when I opened my eyes, and then I was able to try to catch my breath, but I wasn't able to catch my breath. I couldn't. I was trying to breathe, and I couldn't breathe, and the guy kept saying, "Keep trying to breathe, keep trying to breathe." And I was trying to breathe, but it was really hard. And said the paramedics is 1 minute away, And so, they took me, to shock trauma. I spent a week in shock trauma. I actually broke my collarbone. I fractured my ribs and my side here. I broke all of my ribs in my back, which actually punctured my lungs. Both of my lungs collapsed. That's why I couldn't breathe. I dislocated my ankle from my leg. I had to have 2 surgeries. I got 3 plates and 15 screws in my ankle, and I broke every bone in my foot.
Wow.
Every bone. The doctor said, "I don't know how you broke every bone. It's a lot of bones in your foot." I broke them all. And so, I didn't realize that I was actually unalived. I'm a massage therapist. So I was a misogynist nurse who's a shock trauma. And I was telling her, I'm so grateful because you guys saved my life. And I said, and I was telling her, she said, when did that happen? And I told her, what the day was, September the 12th or something like that. She said, "I was working that day." I'm like, "Really?" And she goes, "Were you that 60-year-old guy that was hitting on all the nurses in there?" And I was like, "Yeah, it'd be me. Yeah, that was me." She said, "I remember you." And I said, "Well, do you remember anything about, my chart?" And she said, she only remember the first couple lines, but she said, that somebody did CPR on you. And I said, "What?" "I didn't know that." She said, "Yeah, somebody did CPR on you, and they checked the Good Samaritan box. So I can't tell you who they were, but somebody did CPR." So that's why I don't remember anything. So I was pretty much gone. And when I felt the pressure in the middle of my forehead, that was the person that had just finished giving me CPR. Wow. They kept asking me to breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe, try to breathe. And then I spent that week in shock trauma, and I was so messed up. The food was horrible. I couldn't eat the food. I was dying in the hospital. I had another week. That was it. I lost 15 pounds in the hospital because I can't eat hospital food. I never had beef stroganoff in my entire life. I didn't know what that was. So, I had to get my daughter. I said, "You got to bring me some food, get me out of here." So she brought me some food that I'm used to eating, some fresh squeezed orange juice and, some chicken soup from grandmommy, and I took everything I could took for to deal with the pain, and I showed them that I could walk so I could go home and heal. And so the most important thing was, I knew that the body can heal itself given the proper nutrition that it needs to heal itself. That's a big, big thing right there. And what I had to do was I got off of all bread. I got off of all processed food. Bread, of course, my cousin know, and Kitty know, I always say this: bread will make you spread.
Yes, sir.
You always say that.
It's filled with high fructose corn syrup in it. It has MSG in it, and the biggest problem with bread. Oh shoot, sorry about that. The biggest problem with bread is that it takes 2 hours to digest one slice of bread. So in the process, if you have 2 slices, that's 4 hours that's sitting in your stomach. And it's whatever you ate in between that is fermenting. And once it starts to ferment, it sits in your stomach, and then when at the next level is to go to your small intestines. That's where you absorb all the nutrients. So by the bread being sitting in there so long and really not digesting properly, I'm sorry, guys.
No,
Bread not digesting properly, what happens is it blocks your receptor sites from allowing the nutrition to flow into your body. So even though you've eaten and you've eaten all this food and everything, it's still sitting, in your stomach, and your body not absorb the nutrition. And then the nutrients goes into the lower part of the colon, and now it gets lodged in certain parts of the colon, and you wind up with what everybody know you need to have a colonoscopy. Pre-undigested 4 or 5 pounds of red meat sitting in your system. So as long as that's in there, you can't heal, because you even though you've eaten, you're not absorbing nutrition so the body can do what it needs to do. So, bread is probably one of the worst things. I gave up bread. I gave up pasta. I ate lean proteins, really good, clean. I don't eat red meat or pork. Haven't had it for 25, 30 years, but I do eat fish and chicken and stuff like that. So lean proteins, I eat at least a bag of salad a day. I do brown rice. I do real potatoes. I eat real food. If God ain't make it, I ain't take it. And that's how you recover.
That's what it is. Well, say that again, brother. Say that one more time.
So
so you gotta eat. So you gotta eat lean. Lean red meat, lean meats. I don't do any red meat or pork, but fish and chicken. Make sure that it's lean. I also do lots of salads. I do brown rice. I do real potatoes, real food. Just do real food, and I can pretty much tell you, your whole body will start to heal, and you don't have that because we're talking about. I'm sorry.
That's good, but we got to keep it moving, man. Okay, we got.
It was really on that bar. You know what I'm saying? What's the bar, baby? If God don't make it, I don't.
That's what I was trying to say. If God don't make it,
if God don't make it, don't take it. And one more thing. Just one more thing. Don't watch your food. Watch your oils. Watch your oils. Make sure you're doing olive oil. Make sure you do. Don't do any of that processed, those oils, man. Those seeded oils, they are detrimental to your body, and they create a lot of problems with heart, strokes, all that kind of stuff, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
We're gonna go back to almond now.
Yes, sir.
Now, thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, Melissa.
Yes.
Talk about what was on my desk.
Repeat that one more time. You were breaking up. Say it one more time.
Not at one time can you repeat what was sitting on my desk at work. All right.
Let me. Can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
so at the point in time, it was Mr. Wallace. We were not Melissa and Armand, because we stayed at it about his desk. A bowl of chocolate candy on any given day. And every day that I would walk past there, I would take the candy off his desk and remove it. Now, little did I know he had a stash. I know he probably got tired of hearing my mouth over the years. When he was out for a little while, that's when I found out about the stash in the drawer, so I went in there and cleaned him out. So we definitely have this love-hate relationship, but I think it took a few wake up moments to realize that, it was time to put that stuff away. And it was all out of love, right? Because if you don't mind me sharing a personal moment, I remember coming up to the hospital and seeing you, and we have very candid conversations about health all the time. And it was more of a labor of love, right? He used to call me the bully, but I really didn't care, because it was more about a labor of love. And he would say, well, so-and-so brought it here and I'm not really eating it. But Armand knew he was eating that candy up in there. I just go remove it, take it to the people upstairs who are not doing anything, because logistics was doing all the work. So yeah, that was a hard one. And when you're looking at the health benefits, once again, of watching your A1C level and all that other stuff, because now you're looking at reducing the risk of any type of chronic diseases, and type 2 diabetes is a big thing in our community, in the Black population, in the Black community. And can I get grown and real and sexy for a second? So we talk about exercise and tying it into health and stuff, reducing the risk. You know, you're boosting that cardio health and you're making the heart beat stronger. And I'm just going to talk to you because I see a whole bunch of kings sitting out there. And from your queens, we want y'all to be able to function all the way through till y'all can't function no more. So when that blood is flowing, I need it to flow from the brain all the way down to the second brain, because you need to be able to think and take care of business at the same time. So yeah, I just wanted to put it out there.
Amen. Yes,
Awesome.
indeed.
Awesome.
Yep.
Now, Arden,
Yes, sir.
why is it important to have a proper diet?
I mean, it's 80% diet, especially in America, because we're dealing with a country that allows you to eat things that are, well, things that are scientifically unhealthy.
Anything.
There's a whole lot of research on a plethora of the additives, the chemicals, the conditioners, and everything else that is in our food that shows that it's not healthy, proves that it's not healthy, and then to co-sign against that. How many things can we export as far as food to the rest of the known world? Not much. All of the meats we're talking about, even, you know, the lean quality meats here, they won't take in Europe. If you go to Mexico, how about it? Bad as they say Mexico is, if you go to Mexico and you look at the bag of Doritos there and the bag of Doritos here, it is absolutely more healthy to go to Mexico and eat that trash if you're going to eat that trash. Here, it's garbage and it's poison. That's why I said most of the stuff you see in the stores, not food. So when you constantly bombarding yourself with bad food, and then you have a philosophy of eating that is absolutely unhealthy, to eat all day, you're killing yourself. On average, it takes about the energy you would use to run 3 miles to process one meal, one average meal, and nobody in America eats an average meal. So it's above average. So let me say, let's say it's 3.5 miles, and you only eat three meals a day, and you don't eat any snacks. That's still the equivalent of running 10, 11, 12 miles a day just processing food. And that's why when you talk about itis, it's not the itis, it's just actually the fact that you bombarded your body with non-foods. And on top of that, it's non-foods. I'm saying it takes that much if it's food, but non-foods that won't break down in your system. And you eat that, you're worn out because your body's doing that. Now, if you eat late on top of that and snack late, you wake up, you're tired, and guess what you want to do immediately after you wake up? Eat again. It's a sick cycle. They call it the standard American diet. It's funny that the acronym is SAD because the diet is sad. But the outcome of that diet is what we deal with right now. We deal with a sick care system. Because if it was a healthcare system, Armand, they would have been on you before that. Kenny, they would have been on you before that. Roger, they would have been on you before that if it was a real healthcare system. They don't take care of healthy people. You go there and all your numbers are straight and you still telling them, I feel this, I feel that. They sending you home. They're not about healing people. So the biggest thing is to understand is that your food is going to be your medicine. It's going to be your prevention. And if you haven't sprayed your yard, please, God, don't spray your yard with any of those chemicals to get rid of the weeds, they call it. But the chemical companies have strategically put that strategy in people's mindset because it kills all of the medicine. It kills all of the medicine. You got wild onions in your yard. You got what they call plantain weed in your yard, which is crazy. That's the stuff that's growing up through the concrete in the city. You know what I mean? And nobody's planting it. You can actually pick that up. You can take that. You can take that as a tea. It'll help. Like if you have allergy. A good friend of mine, he's a farmer though. He had an allergy. We made some of that tea the other night, and he was breathing again. You can actually, if something really happens, and I live in DC, so the bottom line, if somebody gets shot or stabbed, I can actually take that and pack a wound, wrap that up, and save somebody's life. It's just so much food that in medicine that's right in your yard. You know, comfrey grows wild around and it heals a plethora of things. But the bottom line is that that's why food is so important. It is your medicine. And if you buy into what everybody's selling around here, if you eat out and you eat fast food, I'm sorry, you paying to die. You could die today, but you paying to die. And when it goes down to the oils they're using that Pierre touched on, the type of food that Kenny touched on, Melissa touched on, all of those things are there, and you paying for it. So it's imperative that the other thing is that we start growing our own foods. We are all here that old enough that, you know, your grandmother, your mother, your aunts, your niece, nephew, all of them had gardens. So much so that you didn't really go anywhere and buy. Who went to buy vegetables in the store when you were growing up? Nobody, because Miss So and So was she was growing string beans. Your
You're right
grandmother,
about it.
they got onions, they got potatoes, they got everything. And on the block, there was an exchange. That's how we survived in this land for so long. But it was real good food. And I'm gonna just step off of that because that's 90% it. And then when you start adding on the activity, go holler at Melissa, go holler at Pierre, go holler at Roger, to work out. It burns off, especially if you work out in the morning, it burns off the fear chemical that builds up in your body overnight. So it's good to get up and move, but you have to have a regimen of health, and it has to be, you know, paramount in your life for you to live that level.
But let me just add to what you're saying.
Hold on, Kenny. So I want you.
You broke up a little bit. Say that one more time.
All right. Before we move on to Ayana, Kenny, I want you to explain, after having a stroke, did you consider the holistic way of treating yourself?
I did, and I thought I was doing that before, and that's why I wanted to touch on what all of you have said previously about eating right, eating processed foods, and doing the right thing. I was doing all of those things, and I'm saying I was the perfect example of this. But what I did not do, and what we have not touched on during this conversation, is also paying attention to your body. Your body tells you when something is wrong. I had 10 TIAs, and that's being generous. Before my stroke, I didn't pay attention. I attributed it to stress because I was, you know, my job was stressful. I was busy, traffic up and down all day long, like me and you were talking when I was stuck in traffic. I was stuck in traffic yesterday. Couldn't get on the Night Brothers show. Pay attention to your body. Your body will tell you what's wrong. Your body will give you signals. I didn't do that, and I ended up with 6 months recovery. But go ahead, big bro.
No, real quick. What are those symptoms, real quick? I know you said one or two, but how many symptoms are you aware of, and what are those symptoms so we can know? I mean, I'm speaking selfishly also for myself because I may go through that and not know that is a symptom of something I need to check out. So what are a few of those symptoms?
When I was having my TIAs, I was disoriented. I got kind of confused. I mean, I was saying to myself, I mean, it got so bad. I'm in the car, I'm in traffic on 287. And I'm like, I got to get this together. I got to get this together. And I was saying to myself and start saying things. It just little things I do to make myself cognizant. They don't last long. I think the longest one I had may have been 30 minutes. And if you look it up, I'm pretty sure it's around, they don't last long, like 30, 40 minutes. But it's a unaware feeling. It's like I'm lost. What's going on? I don't know what I'm doing. You're just unaware of everything that's going on around you. And I try to, like I said, sing to myself, think about different things. And I'm doing this while I'm driving in traffic. Wow. In New Jersey traffic on 287. And I'm thinking about pulling over. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. So we have to, you know, of course, everything that everybody has said previously, to eat right and watch what you're eating. Read labels, people. Read labels. It tells you. Read labels. But, I mean, pay attention to your body. If you're doing all these things and you're still having problems, there's something wrong. Your body is telling you that something is wrong. So just be cognizant of what's going on around you.
And Armand, could I say something? Can I say something to that? When it comes to TIAs too, and I'm thinking from the perspective of a woman, for any of the sisters that are out there listening, we have to pay attention to those signs and symptoms also, because sometimes we'll get something that'll present to us that feels like pressure in our chest, and we may attribute it to heartburn, something we ate. As we start getting a little more mature, there are signs that come along where you may feel a pain in your upper back, some type of pressure, and people will push that off and brush it off as, okay, well, I injured my back, or I did something, I slept wrong, and maybe like a pain in the jaw or something like that. So if it's something that you know is, you cannot truly attach it to anything. Okay, well, I was swinging from the chandelier, I'm being funny, but now my back hurts. You just have to pay attention to those signs, because they're more subtle in women. They're more subtle in women, and we are quick to put it away because we're doing this and running here and handling this, and the men are doing that as well. But it's just taking the time and truly knowing your body, and anything that feels off balance, like Kenny's saying, it's off balance. Pay attention.
Pay attention.
So you pretty much got my wife attention, Melissa.
Good.
So I guess I'll be on you, Ayana.
So let's get into some strategies. And this is a question for each of you. So let's say someone is, not eating healthy, maybe overweight, maybe even some people may be obese. What is one small thing that they could do to start to turn it around? We'll start with you, Kenny.
Exercise, move your body, walk. I mean, if you're a little heavy, you can't run, walk. That's what I do. I mean, start walking, try to move. I mean, and here's the thing. This is what Pierre taught me a couple of years ago.
I was about to ask Pierre. You can't give Pierre strategies.
No. This is something he taught. This is something now, not his strategy. I take a lot of steps at work.
Uh-huh.
Right? A lot of steps. I'm in the 10, 12,000 steps. That's good. That is not, you need more. And Pierre, I'm gonna let Pierre, when he gets to his point, elaborate it on it further. But you need more. Your body knows the difference. And I didn't really, when Pierre said that, we were on a live show, and Pierre said that, and I did some research, and Pierre was right. You need more. If you walk 10, 12,000 steps, and my doctors have told me that, my cardiologist, my neurologist, when I was going through this thing, if you walk X amount of steps at work, you need more exercise. Work and exercise are two different things. I'll let Pierre elaborate on it further.
Sure. Right, Pierre, one thing that they could do to start to turn it around.
Yeah, well, Kenny was, the body knows, your body knows the difference between walking in work and walking for exercise. It knows the difference, So yes, you definitely have to move. Also, you got to start doing some training, ladies, you got to start doing some weights. Muscles are a part of the endocrine system, which means as when you train, they secrete chemicals and hormones that the brain picks up on and makes you feel better. That helps you to deal with stress, and fear and worry and all the other stuff that's going on. So it's really, 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 really important that you do start moving, We'll let you guys continue. I'll step in there now and then.
All right, Arden.
Wow, one thing is really tough, because it's definitely a combination that's going to really make the needle move.
Yeah,
but I would start off with one thing.
Sedentary lifestyle, eating unhealthy was one thing.
Intermittent fasting, and I would say that because it allows a lot of things. It kind of encompasses in it. And within that, I'm saying eat healthy in that 8-hour or lower window. But
so really quickly explain what that is.
Intermittent fasting is a scheduled time of eating and a scheduled time for fasting. In your fasting state, which includes your sleep time. Just want to say everybody fast. That's why you have a term called break fast. But 8 hours of eating window where you can consume quality foods, hopefully high vibration foods, and 16 hours of drinking. You can drink water, you can drink tea, even black coffee, but nothing to kick up your Nothing as far as a caloric intake.
Non-caloric. Yeah.
And
Okay.
how that helps is it gives your body a chance to repair itself. And instead of working on processing food, it's working on creating more cells, cleaning up disease cells, killing and destroying cells that aren't uncooperating with you, so to speak. It's just a plethora of information that goes in reference to that. So amongst what everybody else is saying, I would say that would be one really, really powerful thing.
That's a really good one. All right, Melissa, the one thing they could do, start turning
Sure.
around.
Okay, to turn it around and to sum everything up, all the gentlemen just said, they need to set a goal, and their goals need to be smart. Those goals need to be measurable. They need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And meaning, I want to lose weight or I want to walk. Okay, well, how long do you want to walk? How much time do you want to spend doing this? You want to lose weight? How much weight? How much time do you want to do it? What is it gonna do for you? It can't just be, I want to walk. Well, shoot, I want to walk too from here to my refrigerator. But you have to have a goal, and they have to be specific and realistic for all of it to go in hand and be achievable.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Intention is so
Absolutely.
important.
All right, Roger, it's on you.
Okay, we get ready to wrap this thing up, but I would add with everybody else, muscles are important, cardio is important, eating right is important. But if you're just starting out, you should take a natural cleanser first to get rid of all those doggone toxins that's sitting inside your body. Take that, and I'm not talking about go to Walmart, get this, all this stuff. Find a natural cleanser, because I found one online. It's a bit pricey, but I did the research on it, and I'm telling you, when you take this thing and get rid of that toxicity that you have in your body, just like all these intelligent people that's smarter than me said, that's everybody on the panel. And you sit up there and your body will automatically start to repair itself. The body is amazing. It is. But just like my doctor told me not to keep beating a dead horse, had I not been that person, I wouldn't have been talking to him that day, because I would have counseled out. So eating is important. They gave you all the stuff. It's a lot of questions on. I'm gonna throw this to a lot of people got questions on here. We probably gonna have to do this show again.
Hot yoga, love it.
Yeah. So let me go on and throw it back to Armin, so he could cancel out, because we running out of time. We only got 2 minutes. This should have been a 2-hour show. Yeah.
It could have been.
We'll have a part two.
It could have been.
Paris Lane has got something, Brand. I love hot yoga, man.
Hot yoga. I saw that too, Paris Lane.
So I really want to touch on that hot yoga. And also we lost Melissa. Melissa, when I was having my problem, she told me about a DASH diet as opposed to any other diet. So it's important that we actually feed our bodies with what we need. Pierre, you came on late, man. There was a lot you have to say. I had to cut you in. I had to cut to really get everybody else. But what I want you to do is close us out on what you feel is the most important thing that we should feed our bodies with.
The most important thing is feeding your body with food, alive food, foods that are alive. A lot of the foods that are alive are going to be around the outer part of your grocery store.
Amen.
Nuts you can do, fruits you can do, vegetables you can do, lean proteins you can do, And another thing real quick, just want to make it real quick. I also think that you may need to do some type of relaxation techniques, meditation or something to help keep the stress down. When it comes to stroke, you want to make sure that you're eating healthy. You want to make sure that you're working out, and you want to make sure that you're keeping the stress levels down. Anyone
Does that way come to my yoga class? No.
That's the key. Those are the 3 main keys.
Oh my gosh.
Come check you out, Melissa.
All right.
Oh man. Hey, do you do hot yoga?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do virtual online 7:15 on Fridays, but I'll be at Yoga 6 soon, and I'll send all the information and links out.
Please send me one.
Hey,
Will do. Absolutely.
what I do,
Break it up, brother.
hour. We're gonna invite you guys back, but it's gonna be a 2-hour show. So much information that need to be said. You know, I myself, I had a major stroke when I was on active duty. I had to reteach myself how to talk. I truly believe that the condition that I was in, being in the military, really helped me to where other parts of my body wasn't affected. I slurred. I was drooling from the mouth. I had to twist it. You know, I had to reteach myself how to talk, which caused me to retire sooner from the Army than I wanted to. So what did that do? You know, Kenny talked about TIAs, new TIAs. That's what happens to me on a frequent basis. Now, am I hard-headed? Yes, I'm hard-headed because I do eat stupid stuff sometimes. But I'm coming back around. Melissa said something earlier, caught my wife's attention. I think I'm in trouble. All right. I may not be able to speak. I may not be able to sneak out to a Naps to get what I want to eat. Again, I don't know, but we're gonna work on it. But thanks, man. I want to thank each of you for being on the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's important.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna
Good to be
we're
on.
gonna invite you back to our show. All right. Next week we're gonna have Carlisa Finney on the show. Carlisa Finney will be on the show next week. Another exciting show. Roger, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I want to thank you all of you for showing up, because the knowledge that you have, you know, people forget. We texting, we talking on the phone, but word of mouth has always been the best form of communication. You see what I'm saying? Because when your phone dies, you're talking to somebody, and the knowledge that you have needs to get out to the people. My cousin Aubrey Bartlett said, 100% necessary to improve our quality of life. Very important show. So we need to get this stuff out to the people. And thank you all so much for taking the time out of your schedule to share your knowledge with us and everyone else. Appreciate you big time.
Appreciate you.
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate you.
Ayana, what do you have?
Yeah, thank you for being on the show. This was very informative. We definitely will have you back. We want to thank our sponsors as well as our donors. And if you missed the last event, which was on March 8th, coming in June and every month thereafter, we will do something every single month to celebrate entrepreneurs. So stay tuned for that. We'll be at Lima Twist, DC, Juneteenth next month. So watch our Facebook page for more information.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, visit our webpage. There's a lot of informative stuff on there. Okay, again, at the end of this month, we're going to be sponsoring a golf tournament. You know, we're on a roll. You know, we are on a roll. There's going to be other events coming up. You know, we're not going to stop just here. All right. Thank you. See you next week. Come back. Peace, love, and Don Cornelius.